The alignment principle, the science-backed method to tune your life for more success and joy. Ditch the hustle culture, master your vibration, and make hard goals feel easy. Book summary. Are you tired of the grind? You followed all the productivity advice, you hustle, you grind, you work longer hours, and you've built a to-do list that could rival a short novel. Yet you still feel stuck, stressed, and secretly suspect that you're just one more motivational quote away from throwing your laptop out the window. What if the secret to achieving more isn't about pushing harder, but about tuning your life so that success becomes the path of least resistance? In The Alignment Principle, productivity expert and doctor Ali Abdaal demolishes the myth of hustle culture and introduces a revolutionary, science-backed method to make your hard goals feel easy and enjoyable. The secret isn't more discipline, it's better alignment. This book bridges the gap between mystical concepts like the law of vibration and the hard science of psychology and neuroscience. You'll discover that good vibes aren't just a fluffy feeling. They are a reflection of your internal state, which directly programs your brain's built-in manifestation machine, the Reticular Activating System, RAS. Inside, you'll learn to become a master of your own frequency by hacking your brain's bouncer. Discover how the RAS acts as a filter for your reality and learn how to program it to spot opportunities and solutions instead of obstacles and threats. Debugging your mind. Use powerful, non-cringy techniques from CBT to catch and reframe the negative thought loops that sabotage your energy. Applying the fun factor. Learn Ollie's signature method for injecting play, power, and people into your toughest tasks, turning miserable chores into motivating games you actually want to play. Engineering serendipity. Find out why working with the garage door up is the unfair advantage that attracts life-changing luck, mentors, and opportunities directly to you. The alignment principle is not another list of productivity tips to add to your overloaded system. It's a completely new operating model for your life. If you're ready to ditch the burnout, master your focus, and start attracting the success you've been working so hard for, this book is your wake-up call. Stop trying to force success and start creating a life that feels so good that success becomes a natural byproduct. Your brain's built-in manifestation machine, the Reticular Activating System, or the RAS for short. Have you ever decided you wanted to buy a specific car, let's say a red Mini Cooper? You do a bit of research, you browse a few websites, you think, yeah, red Mini would be pretty cool. And then what happens? For the next 2 weeks, you see red Mini Coopers everywhere. They're parked on your street. One cuts you off in traffic. You see 2 of them in the supermarket car park. It's a full-on mini invasion. You start to think, half-jokingly, is the universe sending me a sign? Did everyone in my city suddenly decide to buy the exact car I want? For years, I experienced this phenomenon and just chalked it up to being a weird little quirk of the human mind. But when I started digging into the so-called law of vibration, I stumbled upon the scientific explanation for it. And honestly, it was such a light bulb moment that it changed how I viewed productivity and goal setting forever. The secret isn't in the universe. It's in your brainstem. It's a tiny, elegant bit of neural architecture called the Reticular Activating System, or the RAS for short. And it is, without a doubt, your brain's built-in, science-backed manifestation machine. Meet the bouncer of your brain. Imagine your brain is the world's most exclusive nightclub. The dance floor is your conscious mind. It's where the action happens, where you make decisions and experience life. Now, outside the club, there's a queue of billions of pieces of information waiting to get in. Every sight, every sound, every smell, every stray thought, they're all lined up, hoping to get your attention. If every single one of them got in, the club would be pure chaos. You'd be a sweaty, overwhelmed mess, unable to think or function.
You'd be trying to have a conversation while simultaneously noticing the flicker of the overhead lights, the bass from the speakers, the smell of someone's perfume 3 feet away, the tag itching the back of your neck, and the memory of what you had for breakfast. It would be impossible. So your brain hires a bouncer, a very strict, very efficient bouncer. That bouncer is your reticular activating system. It's a bundle of nerves at the base of your brain whose main job is to filter the incoming torrent of sensory information and decide what gets past the velvet rope into your conscious mind. It's the reason you can read this book in a bustling coffee shop, filtering out the clatter of cups and the barista shouting names, yet you'll instantly snap to attention if you hear someone say your name from across the room. Your name is on the bouncer's VIP list. The clatter of cups is not. So what does this have to do with red Mini Coopers and achieving your life's goals? Everything. When you decided you were interested in a red Mini Cooper, you didn't magically summon more of them into existence. You simply handed a new instruction to your brain's bouncer. You said, "Hey, see that? The red Mini Cooper? That's a VIP now. Let me know when you see one." Your RAS, being the excellent bouncer it is, said, "Got it, boss," and immediately started scanning the environment for a match. The cars were always there. You just never noticed them because, to your brain, they were just part of the general background noise. They weren't on the VIP list. This is the neurological mechanism that powers the law of vibration. When you set your vibration or focus your intent on a goal, you are not sending magical frequencies out into the cosmos. You are reprogramming your own personal filter on reality. You are training your RAS to spot what is important to you. It feels like magic. It feels like you're suddenly attracting opportunities. But in reality, you're just finally noticing the opportunities that were there all along. How to program your personal bouncer. Okay, so this is cool in theory, but how do we actually use it? If we have this superpower for directing our attention, how do we stop it from just noticing cars and start having it spot opportunities to grow our business, find a new relationship, or learn a new skill? This is where we move from passive observation to active alignment. Here's how you give your RAS a new set of instructions. 1. Define your VIPs with ludicrous clarity. Your RAS bouncer is very literal. It needs clear instructions. A vague goal like, "I want to be healthier," is terrible input. What does healthier even look like? A salad, a marathon, 8 hours of sleep? The bouncer is confused and ends up letting nothing through. A clear goal is a clear instruction. I want to have the energy to play with my kids after work, so I will go to the gym 3 times a week and stop eating junk food after 8 p.m. That is a VIP list. Your RAS now knows to look for gym advertisements, healthy late-night snack recipes, articles about workout routines, and time slots in your calendar where a workout could fit. You're giving it a clear target to lock onto. 2. Prime the bouncer daily, the non-cringe way. I used to think affirmations and vision boards were a bit silly, but when you reframe them as tools for programming your RAS, their value becomes crystal clear. You don't have to stand in front of a mirror shouting, "I am a millionaire." What I do is much simpler. Every morning, as part of my daily journaling, I write down my main goals for the week or month. It takes maybe 2 minutes. This isn't a magical ritual. It's a daily briefing for my bouncer. It's me saying, "Morning, RAS, just a reminder. For today, we're on the lookout for anything related to finishing the next chapter, finding a great video editor, and ideas for my next online course. Keep an eye out. Thanks, mate." By consistently bringing my goals to the front of my mind, I'm ensuring they stay on the VIP list. 3. Attach emotion to the goal. This is the vibration bit. Here's the real secret sauce. The RAS doesn't just respond to words. It responds powerfully to emotion. Things that are tied to strong feelings of excitement, fear, joy, or urgency get a priority pass straight to the front of the queue. This is why just thinking, "I should probably go to the gym," doesn't work. There's no emotional juice behind it. It's boring. The bouncer yawns and goes back to scrolling on his phone. But what if you focus on the feeling? Imagine the feeling of finishing a workout, buzzing with endorphins. Imagine the feeling of buttoning up a pair of trousers that haven't fit in a year. Imagine the pride and energy you'll feel. That's the vibration. It's not some mystical force. It's the emotional resonance of your goal. When you connect a strong, positive emotion to your goal, you're essentially sticking a neon ultra VIP sticker on it. Your RES can't help but pay attention and seek out things that will create more of that feeling. This is the very essence of feel-good productivity. When I was first starting my YouTube channel, I was terrified, but I shifted my focus from the fear of failure to the excitement of sharing ideas I was passionate about. I thought about how fun it would be to edit a video and see it come to life. I programmed my RES with the frequency of fun and excitement. And lo and behold, I started noticing tutorials on how to make editing more fun. I found communities of creators who were excited about the same things. The path became easier because my brain was actively searching for the fun parts. So you don't just have a goal. You have a brain designed to help you achieve it. The law of vibration isn't about wishing upon a star. It's about giving your brain a better map. You are the programmer of your own attention. The question is no longer, how do I attract what I want? The real question is, what's on your VIP list today?
Introduction. My accidental stumble into the good vibes universe. It was 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I had fallen down the deepest of internet rabbit holes. You know the kind. It starts with a perfectly reasonable search for how to be more productive. And somehow, 3 hours later, you're watching a video of a man in a loosely fitting linen shirt telling you the secret to unlocking all your dreams is to vibrate at a higher frequency. My very British skepticism was, to put it mildly, tingling. Vibrate? I muttered to my laptop screen. What am I, a tuning fork? The whole concept seemed a bit fluffy, a bit too woo-woo for a doctor who'd spent years studying the hard science of the human body. And yet, I couldn't click away. Because here's the thing. I was burned out. I was a junior doctor in the NHS, juggling a fledgling YouTube channel and trying to have something that resembled a social life. I was the poster boy for hustle culture. And frankly, I was exhausted. I was doing all the things you're supposed to do to be successful, but I felt stuck, like I was wading through treacle. The harder I pushed, the more resistance I felt. That 2 a.m. YouTube binge, as it turns out, was the start of a journey. It led me to question the whole hustle harder mantra and to look for a better way. And that's what this book is about. It's about a concept I call the alignment principle, which is my practical, evidence-based take on the so-called law of vibration. Now, before you roll your eyes and reach for the nearest available textbook on quantum physics, hear me out. The core idea is simple. Aligning your internal world, your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, with your external world, your actions, habits, and environment, is the key to what I call feel-good productivity. It's the secret to making hard goals feel not just achievable, but genuinely enjoyable. This isn't about sitting in a lotus position and manifesting a Ferrari, although if that's your thing, you do you. This is about re-engineering your mindset and your systems in a way that is backed by science to not only attract success, but to actually enjoy the process of getting there. We'll explore the psychology of mindset, the neuroscience of emotions, and the practical strategies that can help you tune your life for more success and, crucially, more joy. Forget the endless grind. It's time to get into alignment. Part 1. The Physics of You. Understanding your personal frequency. Chapter 1. The Science of Good Vibes. More than just a feeling. All right, let's talk about good vibes. It's a phrase we toss around all the time, right? That coffee shop has great vibes, or I'm just not getting a good vibe from him. For years, I mentally filed this under vague, slightly hippie-ish compliments. It felt nice, but not particularly rigorous. But what if there's more to it? What if vibes aren't just a feeling, but a reflection of something real and measurable? Stick with me. My inner skeptic had a field day with this at first, too. But the deeper I looked, the more I realized that this idea, at its core, is grounded in some surprisingly solid principles.
It all starts with a fundamental concept from physics. Everything is energy, and everything is in a constant state of vibration. Your desk is dancing. Very, very slowly. I know what you're thinking. Ollie, my desk looks pretty solid to me. It's not about to shimmy its way across the room. But according to quantum physics, the things we perceive as solid are actually made up of tiny atoms, and these atoms are in constant motion, vibrating at specific frequencies. The only difference between your desk, a glass of water, and the air you're breathing is the speed of these vibrations. Think of it like this. You have ice, water, and steam. They're all the same thing, H2O, but they exist in different states because of the energy or vibration of their molecules. Ice has molecules that are tightly packed and vibrate slowly. Add some energy, heat, and they start vibrating faster, breaking apart to become liquid water. Add even more energy, and they vibrate so fast they turn into steam. The same principle applies to everything in the universe. Everything has a unique vibratory frequency. It's not just spiritual jargon, it's a foundational concept in physics. The human tuning fork. So, physical objects vibrate. Cool. But what does that have to do with us, with our thoughts, feelings, and the burnout I was feeling as a junior doctor? This is where it gets really interesting. We too are energetic beings. Every one of the trillions of cells in our body has its own energetic signature. And just like a finely crafted tuning fork, we are constantly resonating with the world around us. You know this intuitively. When you strike a tuning fork, it vibrates, creating a sound. If you bring a second identical tuning fork close to the first one, it will start to vibrate and hum on its own without ever being touched. This is called resonance. Humans do the same thing. Have you ever walked into a room where someone has just had an argument? You can feel the tension in the air. That's you, the human tuning fork, picking up on the low-frequency vibrations of anger and frustration. Conversely, have you ever been around someone who is just so genuinely joyful that you can't help but smile? That's emotional contagion, and it's a form of resonance. You're tuning into their high-frequency energy. This isn't just a metaphor. The law of vibration suggests that our thoughts and emotions also have their own vibrational frequencies. While we can't measure sadness in hertz just yet, we can see its effects. Psychologists and neuroscientists have shown that emotions are not just abstract feelings, they are electrochemical signals that create measurable energy in our bodies. Think about how different emotions feel in your body. Emotions we label as negative, like fear, anger, or shame, often feel heavy, constricting, and draining. They are associated with lower frequencies. On the other hand, emotions we label as positive, like love, gratitude, and joy, tend to feel light, expansive, and energizing. These are the high-frequency states. When I was deep in the hustle culture, I was living in a state of chronic stress, anxiety, and frustration. My internal world was a low-frequency mess. And because of the principle of resonance, like attracts like, I seemed to attract more reasons to feel stressed and frustrated. My perception was tuned to that frequency. I'd notice every obstacle, every setback, every reason why things were difficult. My thoughts were creating my emotional state, and my emotional state was dictating my personal frequency. This frequency, in turn, acted as a filter, coloring my entire perception of reality. It's the foundation of the law of attraction. You attract the energy you put out. Understanding this was the first major unlock for me. It shifted my focus from just doing more to being more. I realized that to change my external world, I first had to change my internal frequency. I had to learn how to consciously and deliberately tune my own vibration. And that, my friends, is where the real magic begins.
Chapter 2. Your brain's built-in manifestation machine, the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. All right, so
In the last chapter, we talked about the physics of vibration and how our emotional state creates a kind of personal frequency. If you're anything like I was, a part of you might still be thinking, okay, Allie, cute analogies with the tuning forks, but what's actually going on in my head? This is the chapter where it all clicks. This is the aha moment that took me from being a vibes skeptic to a true believer. Because it turns out we have a biological, neurological system built into our brains that does exactly what the law of attraction claims to do. It's not magic and it's not woo-woo. It's a bundle of neurons in your brainstem called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS for short. And honestly, understanding the RAS is a complete game changer. The red car phenomenon. Have you ever decided you want to buy a new car? Let's say you've got your heart set on a shiny red Mini Cooper. You've done the research, you've watched the reviews, you've even configured it online. You've decided this is your car. What happens next? Suddenly, you see them everywhere. Red Minis at traffic lights, red Minis in the supermarket car park. You spot 3 of them on your commute to work when you swear you hadn't seen a single one all year. Did the universe suddenly conspire to spawn a fleet of red Minis and place them directly in your path? As much as that sounds like a fun cosmic prank, the answer is no. The cars were always there. The only thing that changed was you. By deciding that the red Mini was important, you gave your brain a new instruction. You told it, hey, this matters to me. Pay attention to it. This, in a nutshell, is your reticular activating system at work. The RAS acts as a filter, or a bouncer for your brain. It's located in the brainstem, and one of its crucial jobs is to sort through the billions of bits of information your senses are taking in every single second and decide what's important enough to let through to your conscious mind. If it didn't do this, you'd be instantly overwhelmed. Imagine trying to consciously process the feeling of your socks, the hum of the refrigerator, the exact shade of blue on the wall, and the conversation happening 2 tables over, all at the same time. You'd be a wreck. The RAS protects you from that by filtering out the noise. And what's the password to get past this bouncer? Your focus. Your brain's Google search. When you focused on the red Mini, you essentially handed your RAS a new search query. You told it, scan the environment for red Mini Cooper. Your RAS then diligently highlighted every red Mini it found in the sea of incoming sensory data, making you consciously aware of them. This is the neurological basis for attracting things into your life. It's not that your thoughts are magically pulling objects towards you. It's that your thoughts are programming your brain's filtering system to notice what is already there. You are actively filtering your reality based on your focus. When you're stuck in a low vibration state, feeling stressed, negative, and overwhelmed like I was, what search query do you think you're giving your RAS? You're telling it, show me evidence that life is hard. Show me obstacles. Show me reasons to be frustrated. And your ever-obedient RAS will highlight every single piece of proof it can find, reinforcing your negative state. The traffic will seem worse, the difficult clients will feel more annoying, and the setbacks will feel more personal. But what happens when you intentionally shift your vibration? What happens when you start your day focusing on gratitude, opportunity, and excitement? You give your RAS a new set of instructions. You're telling it, hey, show me things to be grateful for. Show me potential opportunities. Show me reasons to be optimistic. Your RAS then gets to work, filtering your reality through this new positive lens. It will start pointing out the friendly smile from the barista, the unexpected green light on your commute, the interesting opportunity in a client email you might have otherwise missed. The external world hasn't changed, but your experience of it has been transformed. This is why the alignment principle is so powerful. By aligning your internal thoughts and feelings, your vibration, You are quite literally tuning your brain's manifestation machine to seek out and recognize the people, resources, and chances that will help you achieve your goals. You're not just passively wishing for things to happen. You're actively priming your own neurology to partner with you in making them a reality. You still have to do the work. You still have to get in the car and drive. But your RAS has become the ultimate GPS, pointing out all the shortcuts and scenic routes you never knew existed.
Chapter 3: The Vicious Cycle of Bad Vibes and How to Break It. Ever have one of those days? It starts with something small. You oversleep by 3 minutes. It's no big deal in the grand scheme of things, but it's the first domino. Because you're 3 minutes late, you rush your morning coffee and end up sloshing a bit on your crisp, clean shirt. Fantastic. The first thought hits, I'm such a klutz. This thought doesn't just hang in the air and disappear. Oh no. It invites its friends over for a party in your head. It triggers a feeling, annoyance, frustration. You now feel clumsy and flustered. Because you're feeling annoyed, you act accordingly. You snap at your flatmate when they ask you a simple question. You can't find your keys because you're frantically searching instead of calmly looking. This, of course, makes you even later. You finally get out the door, now in a full-blown state of grumpiness. And what does your RAS, your brain's bouncer, which we talked about in the last chapter, do? It has its new orders for the day. Show me more evidence that today is a total disaster. And it delivers. You notice every single red light. You interpret the neutral expression of the barista as a judgmental glare. You get an email from your boss with the subject line, "Quick question," and your brain immediately leaps to the conclusion, right, I'm getting fired. By 9 a.m., you've officially concluded that the universe is conspiring against you. But it wasn't the universe. It was a vicious cycle that started with a single, unexamined thought. The CBT connection, your brain's feedback loop from hell. If I described this spiral to my therapist, she'd smile knowingly, maybe take a sip of her tea, and say, yes, that sounds like a classic cognitive distortion. What we're talking about here is a foundational concept in cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, one of the most well-established and effective forms of psychotherapy. CBT is built on a simple but powerful idea called the cognitive triangle. Picture a triangle with 3 points: thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. They're all interconnected, each one influencing the others. A thought, e.g., I'm so clumsy, triggers a feeling, e.g., annoyance, frustration, which leads to a behavior, e.g., rushing, being snappy, which then reinforces the initial thought, e.g., see, I couldn't even find my keys. I really am a mess today. And on it goes, a self-fulfilling prophecy spinning faster and faster. This is the vicious cycle of bad vibes. It's not a mystical curse, it's a psychological pattern. This loop is the engine that generates a low vibration state. When you're caught in this cycle, you are marinating in the stress hormones of cortisol and adrenaline. You feel heavy, constricted, and reactive. And from this state, you attract, or rather you filter for and create, more and more problems. You make poor decisions, you misinterpret social cues, and you miss opportunities that are right in front of you because your RAS is dutifully following orders to only show you the bad stuff. Breaking the cycle, you can't change a frequency you don't even realize you're broadcasting. For years, I was broadcasting a frequency of hustle, stress, and inadequacy without even knowing it. I thought that was just the background noise of ambition. But learning to recognize the signature of that low vibration state was the first step towards consciously tuning it to something better. So for now, forget about fixing it. Forget about positive affirmations or forcing yourself to feel happy. Just become a detective of your own inner world.
Notice the loops, see the patterns. That awareness, that simple act of noticing, is the key that will unlock everything else.
Part 2. The Alignment Toolkit. Practical Ways to Tune Your Frequency. Chapter 4. The Upward Spiral. Engineering Your Environment for Automatic Positivity. Okay, so we've established that it's frighteningly easy to get sucked into a vicious cycle of bad vibes. One clumsy coffee spill can escalate into a full-blown "the universe hates me" day. The logical next question is, how do we fight it? For years, my answer was willpower. I'd try to force myself to be positive. I'd repeat affirmations I didn't believe while feeling my shoulders tense up with stress. It was exhausting, and frankly, it rarely worked. It was like trying to swim upstream against a powerful current. Then I realized I was asking the wrong question. The question wasn't, how can I fight the downward spiral? It was, how can I make the current flow in the other direction? The answer is to stop relying on willpower and start using intelligent design. Instead of fighting the bad vibes, we can consciously engineer our environment to create an upward spiral, a space where positivity, focus, and high-frequency energy are the default. Think of it as vibrational hygiene. It's about tidying up the external influences so that your internal state naturally elevates. The goal is to make good vibes the path of least resistance. 1. Declutter your desk, declutter your mind. Let's start with the obvious. Take a look at your desk, right now. Go on. I'll wait. What do you see? Is it a serene oasis of calm productivity? Or does it look like a stationery shop exploded? For a long time, mine was the latter. I had stacks of papers I needed to sort, books I planned to read, and enough random cables to tether a small boat. I told myself it was the sign of a creative mind at work, but in reality, it was a source of constant, low-grade stress. A messy desk isn't just an aesthetic problem. From a psychological perspective, clutter represents a series of open loops. Every out-of-place item is a tiny, postponed decision that quietly whispers, "You haven't dealt with me yet," every time you glance at it. This creates a significant cognitive load, draining your mental energy and focus before you've even started your most important task. It's a low-vibration signal. It tells your brain and your reticular activating system that your world is chaotic and out of control. The actionable fix: the vibrational hygiene tidy. Embrace the one-touch rule. This is a classic, but it works. When you pick something up, deal with it immediately. It has one of 4 destinations: back in its designated home, in the bin, on a specific action list, or passed on to someone else. Don't just move it from pile A to pile B. Close the loop. Design for your desired frequency. This is where it gets fun. Instead of just tidying, curate your desk for the person you want to be. Want to be more hydrated and healthy? Don't just hide a glass in the cupboard. Place a sleek, beautiful water bottle in your direct line of sight. Want to read more? Don't leave the book you should read on the shelf. Put the book you're excited to read right next to your keyboard. This is a direct application of James Clear's principle from Atomic Habits. Make it obvious. You are using your environment to send high vibration cues to your brain. 2. Your digital detox, muting the low vibe noise. If your physical desk is a potential source of low vibe clutter, your digital environment is a full-blown landfill. The endless scroll on Instagram, the outrage of the day on X, formerly Twitter, the constant pings from Slack, it's the ultimate vibrational chaos. Think about it. Your social media feed is the equivalent of opening your front door and allowing 1,000 random strangers to march into your living room and shout their unfiltered opinions, anxieties, and carefully curated holiday photos directly into your face. You would never, ever allow that in your physical home. So why do we give it a free pass in our digital one? This isn't just a distraction. It's a direct assault on your personal frequency. You are absorbing the emotional energy of thousands of other people, most of whom are broadcasting fear, comparison, and anxiety. This is emotional contagion on a mass scale. The actionable fix: curate your digital kingdom. The great unfollow spree.
This is one of the most satisfying things you can do for your mental health. Set a timer for 15 minutes and go through your social media accounts. Ask one question for every account you follow. Does this person or page make me feel good, teach me something useful, or genuinely make me laugh? If the answer is no, hit the mute or unfollow button without mercy. You are the editor-in-chief of the magazine your brain reads every day. Be ruthless. Neuter your notifications. Every buzz, bing, and banner is a hostile takeover of your attention. It yanks you out of your chosen frequency and pulls you into someone else's agenda. Go into your phone settings and turn off all notifications except for messages from actual humans you care about. Yes, all of them. The world will not end. Your brain, however, will thank you for the newfound peace and quiet. 3. The social frequency, your personal tuning forks. This is the big one. We've tidied our desks and our phones, but the most powerful environmental factor of all is the people we spend time with. Remember our tuning fork analogy from Chapter 1? How one vibrating fork can cause another to start vibrating at the same frequency? That is precisely what happens in our social interactions. Neuroscientists call it emotional contagion, or talk about the function of mirror neurons. We are hardwired to unconsciously absorb and reflect the emotional states of those around us. This is emotional contagion on a mass scale. This means the people in your life are literally tuning your vibration. We all know people who are high vibe. You leave a conversation with them feeling energized, optimistic, and expansive. They're like a human charger. And we all know the energy vampires. The friend who only ever complains, the colleague who thrives on gossip, the family member who sees the negative in everything. Spending an hour with them can leave you feeling drained, irritable, and small, as if you've been sitting next to an open freezer. The actionable fix? The social circle audit. This isn't about cruelly cutting people out of your life. It's about being intentional with your most valuable resource, your energy. Audit your time. Grab a piece of paper or open a new note. List the 5 to 10 people you spend the most time with. Next to each name, draw a simple arrow. Up if they generally leave you feeling energized and better, or down if they generally leave you feeling drained and worse. Be honest. This isn't a moral judgment, it's just data. Amplify the amplifiers. Look at your up arrow people. Your mission is to proactively schedule more time with them. Send one of them a text right now and set up a call or a coffee. By intentionally increasing your exposure to these high-frequency people, you make it easier to maintain your own positive state. Manage the drainers. For the down arrow people, especially those you can't or don't want to remove from your life, the key is to manage the interaction. Set boundaries. Maybe that means keeping calls to 15 minutes. Maybe that means consciously steering the conversation away from their go-to complaint topics. It's about protecting your energy, allowing you to show up as your best self for them and, more importantly, for you. By practicing this kind of vibrational hygiene, you're doing something profound. You're shifting from a reactive to a proactive state. You're no longer a victim of your environment, you are its architect. You are systematically removing the sources of low-frequency interference and amplifying the signals that will automatically pull you into an upward spiral. You're not just cleaning your room, you are setting the stage for success and joy to find you with far less effort.
Chapter 5. Cognitive Reframing, the Art of Changing Your Tune. Not too long ago, I uploaded a video to YouTube. I had poured about 40 hours into it, researching, scripting, filming, editing. I was genuinely proud of it. I hit publish, made a cup of tea, and came back to my laptop buzzing with that lovely post-creative glow. And there it was, the first comment. My stomach did a little flip of anticipation. I clicked to read it. It said, "This is painfully boring. I'd rather watch paint dry." My heart sank into my shoes, and then the thoughts came, thick and fast. He's right. It was boring. What was I thinking? Everyone probably thinks this. I'm a terrible YouTuber. I'm a fraud. I should just delete the channel. In fact, I should delete my entire digital footprint and go live in a yurt.
This, my friends, is a classic case of what I like to call stinking thinking. It's that all-or-nothing, catastrophic, mind-reading nonsense our brains are so wonderfully good at producing. It's the mental equivalent of spilling coffee on your shirt and deciding to just set the whole house on fire. For years, I thought I was at the mercy of these thought spirals. I thought that feeling bad was the inevitable result of a negative event. But what if the event itself isn't the problem? What if the problem is the story we tell ourselves about it? This is where we get to one of the most powerful, practical, and scientifically backed tools in our entire alignment toolkit: cognitive reframing. It's the art of changing your tune by consciously changing your thoughts. You're not a mind reader, even if you think you are. Cognitive reframing is a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy, which, as we touched on, is one of the gold standards of modern psychology. The big idea is that our feelings and behaviors aren't caused by events themselves, but by our interpretation of those events. CBT identifies common patterns of stinking thinking, officially called cognitive distortions, that are like bugs in our mental software. And they are hilariously predictable. Here are a few of my personal favorites. Catastrophizing. This is my specialty. It's taking a small negative event and spinning it into a full-blown apocalypse. Example: this one bad comment means my entire YouTube career is over. Black and white thinking. Seeing things in absolute terms. If it's not a perfect success, it must be a total failure. Example: I missed one day at the gym, so my entire fitness plan is ruined. Mind reading. Firmly believing you know what someone else is thinking, and it's usually something bad about you. Example: my boss was curt in that email. She must think I'm incompetent. Once you start spotting these, you see them everywhere. They are the building blocks of the vicious cycle of bad vibes. But the good news is, you can debug your own brain. The 3-step reframe. How to become your own spin doctor. Changing your thoughts sounds hard, but like any skill, it just takes practice. The process is simple. When you feel that familiar dip into a low vibration state, you pause and become a detective. You catch it, challenge it, and change it. Step 1. Catch the thought. This is all about awareness, which we discussed in Chapter 3. You can't fix a thought you don't know you're having. The trigger is the feeling. The moment you feel that wave of anxiety, anger, or sadness, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? My feeling was that gut punch of disappointment. The story was, I'm a terrible YouTuber. Step 2. Challenge the thought. This is where you put on your lawyer's wig and cross-examine that thought. Is it really 100% true? Would it hold up in court? Me versus the thought. Am I a terrible YouTuber? All of me? Is that an objective fact? Well, hang on. The video has 2,000 likes and this one negative comment. The analytics show that thousands of people watched it for over 10 minutes. My subscriber count went up today. So the evidence suggests that some people, in fact, a majority, seem to find it valuable. The alternative. What's a different way of looking at this? Perhaps this person was just having a bad day. Maybe my style just isn't their cup of tea. Maybe they really do love watching paint dry. Their opinion is one data point, not a universal truth. Step 3. Change the thought. Now you replace the initial, distorted thought with a new one that is more balanced, accurate, and empowering. This isn't about toxic positivity where you pretend the bad comment doesn't exist. It's about creating a more helpful and true narrative for yourself. Old thought. I'm a terrible YouTuber. Low vibration, paralyzing. Reframed thought. My content isn't for everyone, and that's okay. I'm going to focus on the thousands of people who do get value from it, and this one comment is just feedback, not a reflection of my self-worth. Can you feel the difference? The first thought leads to a yurt. The second one leads to getting excited about making the next video. I use this all the time as a junior doctor. I'd make a mistake, maybe forget to order a routine blood test. The initial thought would be, I'm an awful doctor. I'm going to harm someone. Catastrophizing. Catch it. There's that I'm a failure feeling. Challenge it. Is it true? Did I harm someone? No. Is this a common mistake? Yes, my supervisor said so. What's the most important thing now? Change it. I'm a human and a doctor in training, and mistakes are learning opportunities. I'll put a system in place, a checklist, to make sure this doesn't happen again. Cognitive reframing is your manual control panel for tuning your own frequency. By catching these automatic negative thoughts and consciously upgrading them, you halt the downward spiral. You take the pen back from your anxious inner narrator and start writing a better, more aligned story for yourself.
Chapter 6. The Fun Factor. How to make hard things feel good. Let's be honest for a second. We've all been there. You have a big, important goal. Maybe it's getting fit, or acing a crucial exam, or finally launching that side project. You know it's good for you. You know you should want to do it. But when it comes time to actually do the work, it feels like wading through cement. The classic hustle culture advice is to just power through. Embrace the suck, they say. Discipline equals freedom. And while there's a kernel of truth in that, I've come to believe it's a deeply flawed strategy. Relying on sheer, white-knuckled discipline is like trying to run a car on its starter motor. It might get you a few feet down the road, but you'll burn out the engine before you get anywhere meaningful. I believe there's a better way, a way that's more effective, more sustainable, and infinitely more enjoyable. It's based on a core tenet of my philosophy and the alignment principle. If you enjoy the process, you're more likely to succeed. This isn't just fluffy, feel-good advice. It's a strategic advantage. When you're in a state of enjoyment, you're operating at a high frequency. You're creative, resilient, and resourceful. The work doesn't drain your energy, it gives you energy. So the question isn't, how do I force myself to do this hard thing? The question is, how do I make this hard thing feel good? The answer lies in what I call the fun factor. It's a simple framework for intentionally injecting enjoyment into your goals by focusing on 3 key elements: play, power, and people. My med school misery and how games saved me. To show you what I mean, let's travel back to my medical school days. I was faced with the monumental task of memorizing thousands upon thousands of facts about human anatomy, pharmacology, and diseases with names I could barely pronounce. The sheer volume of information was soul-crushing. My initial strategy was pure brute force. Sit at a desk for 12 hours a day, read a textbook, make notes, repeat. It was, to put it mildly, miserable. I was in a constant low vibration state of boredom and dread. I was procrastinating, burning out, and the information wasn't even sticking. My hustle was backfiring. I knew I had to change my tune, so I asked myself, how can I make this feel less like a punishment and more like a game? This led me to a few breakthroughs that transformed my study process. Play. Instead of just rereading notes, I turned studying into a competitive game. My friends and I created a massive spreadsheet of every topic we needed to learn and turned it into a scoreboard. We'd quiz each other using flashcard apps like Anki, which uses a spaced repetition algorithm, itself a game-like mechanic, where you try to beat the forgetting curve. We'd track our scores and have weekly reviews. Suddenly, it wasn't a chore. It was a challenge. We were competing, laughing, and, almost as a side effect, learning an insane amount of material. Power. One of the most draining parts of studying was the feeling of powerlessness against the mountain of information. So I looked for ways to get back in the driver's seat.
I stopped being a passive consumer of information and became an active creator. I started my first blog, writing explainers on the topics I was studying. The active teaching of organizing the information in my own way and making it simple enough for someone else to understand gave me a profound sense of autonomy and mastery. It was my project, my rules. That feeling of control was electrifying. People. The single biggest change was breaking out of my solitary study prison. By creating our study league and working together, we tapped into the power of social connection. We weren't just colleagues, we were teammates. We celebrated each other's wins, explained concepts the others were struggling with, and kept each other accountable not through shame, but through camaraderie. The shared experience turned a lonely slog into a collective mission. This wasn't about slacking off. I probably worked harder than I did with my old brute force method, but it felt completely different. By injecting play, power, and people into the process, I had raised its vibrational appeal. I had aligned the hard work of studying with the high-frequency states of joy, curiosity, and connection, and the results spoke for themselves. How to apply the fun factor to your own goals. You can apply this framework to almost any goal that feels like a drag. Let's say you want to get fit, but you hate going to the gym. Play. How can you make it a game? Maybe it's a fitness app that lets you level up. Maybe it's trying a new sport like rock climbing or a dance class where the focus is on fun and learning a skill, not just reps. Maybe you set challenges for yourself, like trying to beat your 5K time or learning a new yoga pose. Power. How can you feel more in control? Don't just follow a generic workout plan you hate. Design your own. Experiment with different exercises. Track your progress in a journal, giving you tangible proof of your growing strength and competence. Choose the time, the place, and the music. Make it your ritual, not someone else's prescription. People. How can you make it social? Find a workout buddy. Join a running club. Sign up for group classes where you can feel the collective energy. Even sharing your progress with a friend or an online community can provide the connection and accountability you need. By weaving these elements into your goals, you're doing something remarkable. You're changing your relationship with difficulty. You're not trying to eliminate the challenge, you're transforming your experience of it. You're aligning your actions with a state of joy, curiosity, and connection. And when you do that, you're not just vibrating at a higher frequency, you're making success the most natural, effortless, and fun outcome imaginable.
Chapter 7. The Gratitude Effect. The ultimate high-frequency hack. If you've spent any time in the world of self-improvement, you've undoubtedly been told to keep a gratitude journal. For years, this advice made me roll my eyes so hard I risked a sprain. The whole process felt incredibly forced and, if I'm being honest, a bit cringy. My early attempts looked something like this. I'd sit down with a fancy Moleskine notebook determined to become a beacon of positivity and write, "I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for the internet." The next day, it would be the same. And the day after that. It felt less like a profound spiritual practice and more like a really boring inventory of my flat. It didn't make me feel anything. It was a chore I was doing because some productivity guru said it would change my life. Unsurprisingly, the habit never stuck. My mistake was thinking of gratitude as a passive, sentimental activity. I was wrong. Gratitude, when done right, isn't soft. It's a high-performance tool. It's a direct biological intervention that can fundamentally rewire your brain. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate high-frequency hack. Part 3. Broadcasting your signal. Taking aligned action. Chapter 8. The Unfair Advantage. Designing your own serendipity. When I uploaded my very first YouTube video back in 2017, I had no grand strategy. There was no business plan, no content calendar, no 5-year vision to build a media empire. If you told me that this grainy video of a nerdy med student talking about study techniques would lead to, well, all of this, I probably would have laughed and gone back to my flashcards. The truth is, I started it for one simple reason. I was genuinely excited about the study methods I was discovering, and I thought it would be fun to share them. That's it. My only goal was to explain something I found interesting, in the hope that it might help someone else. It was an act of pure, unadulterated geekiness. We've spent the last 7 chapters doing the crucial internal work. We've learned how to tune our internal frequency, debug our mental software with cognitive reframing, and make hard things feel good. We've essentially become a finely tuned, high-performance instrument. Now, it's time to plug that instrument into a massive amplifier and broadcast our signal to the world. It's time to move from passive attraction to active creation. Because here's the secret. True alignment isn't just about sitting around feeling good and hoping opportunities will find you. It's about taking that good feeling and using it to do things, to put out a signal so clear and so powerful that opportunities can't help but tune into you. The luck surface area, your unfair advantage. For a long time, I thought luck was something that just happened to other people. It felt like a random magical force that you were either blessed with or you weren't. But then I stumbled upon a concept that completely changed my perspective, coined by the entrepreneur Jason Roberts, the luck surface area. The idea is brilliantly simple. Imagine the amount of luck you experience is a physical surface area. To increase that area, you need to do 2 things. Do more stuff, tell more people about the stuff you're doing. The formula is basically luck equals doing times telling. This is the practical, actionable version of putting your vibes out into the universe. When viewed through the lens of the alignment principle, this formula becomes even more potent. The doing isn't just any busy work. It's taking aligned action. It's working on the projects, learning the skills, and exploring the curiosities that genuinely excite you and light you up, the things that naturally put you in a high vibration state. The telling is the act of broadcasting your signal. It's sharing what you're doing, what you're learning, and what you're excited about with the world. When you do this, you're no longer passively waiting for a lucky break. You are actively engineering serendipity. You are creating an unfair advantage by systematically increasing the probability of a fortunate collision between your passion and a life-changing opportunity. How to broadcast your signal without feeling like an annoying influencer. I get it. The idea of putting yourself out there can be terrifying. It can feel arrogant or self-promotional. But broadcasting your signal doesn't have to mean posting selfies with inspirational quotes. It's about generosity and connection. Here are a few practical ways to start. 1. Work with the garage door up. This brilliant concept comes from Austin Kleon's book, Show Your Work. The idea is that you don't have to wait until you have a polished, perfect masterpiece to share something. Just do your work, but leave the garage door open so people can peek in. Share your process. Share your works in progress. Share the behind the scenes of what you're learning. Learning to code? Don't wait until you're a senior developer at Google. Tweet about a frustrating bug you finally squashed. Write a short blog post explaining a concept that just clicked for you in the simplest terms. Starting a new fitness journey? Don't wait until you have a 6-pack. Share the healthy recipe you tried and loved. Talk about the podcast that motivated you on your run. This isn't about bragging. It's about being a documentarian of your own journey. This consistent, low-stakes signal is what attracts collaborators, mentors, and friends who are on the same path. 2. Start a zero-stakes project.
The pressure to create a successful business or a viral piece of content is paralyzing. It kills the fun and tanks your vibration. The solution? Lower the stakes to zero. Start a project purely for the joy of it with absolutely no expectation of it ever making money or getting 1 million views. My YouTube channel was a zero-stakes project. Because there was no pressure, I could be my authentic, nerdy self. That authenticity, that pure, aligned signal, was precisely what resonated with people. What's a topic you could talk or write about for hours, even if no one was listening? What's a skill you'd love to learn just for you? Start a blog, an Instagram account, or a newsletter about it. Give yourself permission for it to be messy, imperfect, and seen by an audience of one. You. The paradox is that when you remove the pressure to succeed, you create the conditions where success is most likely to happen. 3. The learn, teach, repeat loop. This is perhaps the most powerful signal booster there is. The moment you learn something new, find a way to teach it or explain it to someone else. This simple act creates a virtuous cycle. First, teaching is the best way to solidify your own understanding. Second, it sends out an incredibly clear and valuable signal of your interests and growing expertise. When you explain a concept in your own words, whether in a conversation, a LinkedIn post, or a short video, you're creating a tiny beacon. That beacon will be found by people who need to learn what you just figured out. It will attract other learners, and it will attract experts who can help you get to the next level. By broadcasting your signal through these small, consistent actions, you create a serendipity engine. Your blog posts, your tweets, your conversations, they're all little digital ambassadors working for you 24/7, connecting with like-minded people and scanning the globe for opportunities that resonate with your frequency. This is how luck finds you. It's not a random lightning strike. It's a knock on the door from a friend you haven't met yet, who found their way to you because you were brave enough and aligned enough to broadcast your unique, brilliant signal.
Chapter 9. The One Thing Rule. How to focus your energy for maximum impact. Have you ever stared at your to-do list and felt a wave of nausea? I call it task overwhelm, and for years, it was my default state. I'd use fancy apps and productivity systems to create these beautiful, elaborate lists. They'd have dozens of items, all color-coded and prioritized, from email Dr. Evans and finish pharmacology notes to buy more milk and finally figure out how pensions work. The problem was, instead of feeling organized and in control, I felt paralyzed. My brain would flit between the tasks like a terrified hummingbird, unable to land anywhere. Everything felt urgent. Everything felt important. The sheer volume of stuff created a low-frequency buzz of anxiety in the back of my mind, scattering my energy and ensuring I accomplished very little of substance. I'd end up wasting half an hour deciding what to do, then procrastinate by doing something easy but pointless, like reorganizing my sock drawer. This is the classic hustle culture trap, believing that being busy is the same as being effective. It's not. It's the opposite. It's vibrational chaos. We've talked about broadcasting our signal, but if you try to broadcast on a dozen frequencies at once, you end up with nothing but static. To make a real impact, you need to focus your energy into a single, clear, powerful beam. And for that, we need a better question than, what should I do next? The question that changes everything. After years of fighting task overwhelm, I stumbled upon a question that cut through the noise like a laser. It became my secret weapon for productivity, and it's one of the most practical tools for taking aligned action. The question is not, what's the most urgent task, or what's the most important task? It's this: what's the one thing I can do right now that will take the largest load off my shoulders? A close cousin of this, borrowed from Gary Keller's brilliant book, The One Thing, is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let that sink in for a moment. This question isn't about just ticking a box. It's a tool for energy management.
It's designed to identify the single action that will provide the most relief and create the most positive momentum. This is the essence of aligned action. You're not just choosing a task, you're choosing a feeling. You're choosing the action that will most effectively raise your internal frequency from a state of stress and overwhelm to a state of clarity and accomplishment. Why relief is a productivity superpower? We tend to think of relief as a passive feeling, the simple absence of stress. But it's so much more than that. The feeling of relief that washes over you after you finally tackle a nagging, heavy task is a powerful, high vibrational state. Think about it. It's the feeling of putting down a heavy backpack you didn't even realize you were carrying. Suddenly, you feel lighter. Your shoulders relax. You can breathe more deeply. That mental space that was being occupied by dread and procrastination is now freed up. This isn't just a feeling, it's a strategic advantage. That newfound energy and clarity make you exponentially more effective at everything else you do that day. By front-loading the relief, you create a powerful upward spiral. The momentum from completing that one heavy-lifting task carries you into the next and the next, turning a day that started with dread into one of focused, satisfying progress. Identifying your one thing. So how do you find this magical, load-bearing task? It's often the one you're subtly avoiding. It's the one with a little ugh field around it. When I was a junior doctor, it was often making a difficult phone call to a consultant to ask for advice. I dread doing it, but the moment it was done, the rest of my day felt 80% lighter. When I'm working on YouTube videos, my one thing is often scripting the first 30 seconds. The intro is the hardest part. Once I have a solid hook, the rest of the script flows with ease. For an entrepreneur, it might be sending the proposal to that one big potential client. For a student, it could be writing the thesis statement for a 10,000-word essay. The one thing is the linchpin. It's the domino that, once tipped, makes all the other dominoes fall more easily. Here's how to put it into practice. Brain dump. First, get everything out of your head. Write down every single task, big or small, that's taking up mental real estate. Ask the question. Look at your list, take a breath, ask yourself, which one of these, if I got it done right now, would give me the biggest sense of relief? Circle it and ignore the rest. That is your mission. For the next block of time, whether it's 25 minutes or 2 hours, everything else on the list ceases to exist. They are a problem for future you. Present you has only one job. The one thing rule is a discipline, but it's a liberating one. It's the antidote to the scattered energy of multitasking. It's a way to consciously use your actions to manage your vibration, transforming the heavy weight of overwhelm into the propulsive energy of accomplishment. By focusing your power on the one thing that matters most, you don't just clear your to-do list, you clear the path for more success and joy to flow into your life.
Chapter 10. The Myth of I Don't Have Time. Reclaiming Your Power. I'd love to start that business, but I just don't have time. I really want to get fit, but with my schedule, I don't have time. I should learn that language, instrument, skill, but honestly, who has the time? If I had a pound for every time I've said or heard a version of that phrase, I could probably retire and spend my days exclusively rewatching The Office. For most of my life, I don't have time was my mantra. It was my go-to explanation for every unstarted project, unread book, and unreached goal. When I was juggling my junior doctor shifts with trying to get my YouTube channel off the ground, I felt like a victim of my own calendar. Time was a tyrant, a scarce resource that was constantly slipping through my fingers. I was sprinting from one obligation to the next, perpetually feeling behind. Convinced that if I could just find a magical extra 2 hours in the day, then I would finally get to the things that truly mattered to me. It took me years to realize that I was looking at the problem completely backwards. I was waiting for time to be given to me, when the truth is far more confronting and ultimately far more empowering. This chapter is about a simple, powerful,
and slightly uncomfortable truth. It's a call to what I consider radical responsibility, and it's the final key to unlocking a truly aligned life. The four-word lie that's holding you back. The phrase, "I don't have time," is a lie. Okay, maybe lie is a bit harsh. Let's call it a convenient fiction. It's a socially acceptable way of saying something else. Something far more honest. Whenever we say, "I don't have time," what we are actually saying is, "It's not a priority." Read that again. Let it sink in. "I don't have time to go to the gym" actually means, going to the gym is not a priority for me right now compared to other things. "I don't have time to write my book" means writing my book is not currently a priority over my other commitments and my desire to relax in the evening. This isn't a judgment, it's an observation. It's not about shaming you for watching 2 hours of Netflix instead of working on your side hustle. It's about being brutally honest with yourself that, in that moment, unwinding with Netflix was the higher priority. And that's a perfectly valid choice. The problem isn't the choice itself. It's the story we tell ourselves about it. The "I don't have time" story casts us as the hero's powerless sidekick in our own lives. We are at the mercy of external forces, our boss, our family, our endless list of errands. This narrative creates a classic low-vibration state. It's built on a foundation of powerlessness, victimhood, and helplessness. It drains our energy and keeps us stuck, passively waiting for circumstances to change. Reclaiming your power starts with reclaiming your language. Switching from "I don't have time" to "it's not a priority" is a game changer. It moves you from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. It's a statement of choice, of agency, of control. It forces you to confront the reality of how you are allocating your single most valuable, non-renewable asset, your time. How to align your time with what truly matters. Being honest about your priorities is the first step. The next is to consciously align your time with the life you actually want to live. This is the ultimate form of high vibrational living, when your daily actions are in perfect harmony with your deepest values. Here's a simple, powerful, and slightly uncomfortable truth. It's a call to what I consider radical responsibility, and it's the final key to unlocking a truly aligned life. Step 1. Conduct an honest time audit. You can't manage what you don't measure. For 1 week, be a detective of your own time. Use the time tracking app, your phone's screen time report, or just a simple notebook. Where does your time actually go? No judgment, just data. You might be shocked to find that the no time you have is actually 3 hours of scrolling on social media and 2 hours of aimless web browsing. The goal isn't to make you feel bad. It's to give you a clear, objective baseline. Step 2. Define your true priorities. Now, forget about your audit for a moment. Take out a clean sheet of paper and ask yourself, what are 3 to 5 things are most important to me right now? These are your true north priorities. They might be things like my physical and mental health, my relationship with my partner and kids, launching my freelance business, learning a new skill for my career, creative expression through music, writing, or art. These are the things that if you invested time in them would generate the most positive energy and momentum in your life. Step 3. Pay yourself first with time. Now, compare your audit with your list of priorities. Is there a mismatch? Of course there is. Now we fix it. We're going to steal an idea from personal finance. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your bills or buy groceries, you put money into your savings. We're going to do the same with time. Open your calendar for next week. Before anyone else can claim your time, you are going to schedule non-negotiable appointments with your priorities. These are not to-dos, they are appointments. Go to the gym becomes a workout session blocked out on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning. Work on business becomes a 90-minute deep work block on Monday and Wednesday evenings. Spend time with family becomes a non-negotiable phone-away family dinner every single night from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. When you treat your priorities with the same respect as a dentist appointment or a meeting with your boss,
your life transforms. You are no longer hoping to have leftover scraps of time for what matters most. You are giving them the prime real estate they deserve. This is the ultimate expression of the alignment principle. When your calendar is a perfect reflection of your values, the internal conflict disappears. The frantic, scattered energy of busyness is replaced by the calm, focused power of purpose. You stop feeling like a victim of your schedule and become the architect of your life. This alignment, this radical honesty and intentional action is what it means to truly master your vibration and broadcast your most powerful signal to the world.
Part 4. Dealing with Static. Troubleshooting Your Vibration. Chapter 11. What to do when it's not working. A guide to getting unstuck. So you're doing everything right. You've decluttered your desk. You're catching your negative thoughts and reframing them like a CBT pro. You've started a zero-stakes project. You're broadcasting your signal, and you're focusing on your one thing. You're vibrating at a frequency so high, you're worried you might start interfering with local radio signals. And then, nothing. Crickets. The opportunities don't come knocking. The project hits a wall. The scale doesn't budge. You post something you're proud of and it gets 3 likes, and one of them is from your mom. You start to feel like you've been well and truly ghosted by the universe. This is the moment of doubt. It's the point where the initial excitement fades and the gritty reality of the work sets in. It's the voice in the back of your head that whispers, "See, this vibration stuff is nonsense. It's not working. You're just wasting your time." I have been here more times than I can count. I've launched videos that I was convinced were pure gold, only to watch them get fewer views than a test pattern. I've hit plateaus in my business where it felt like no matter how hard I pushed, the needle wouldn't move. This feeling of being stuck isn't a sign that the alignment principle is a sham. It's a sign that you're human and that you're trying to do something meaningful. Author Seth Godin calls this the dip. The long, hard slog between starting something new and finally achieving mastery. The dip is where most people quit. But we're not going to quit. We're going to troubleshoot. When your TV signal gets fuzzy, you don't throw the television out the window. You check the cables, adjust the antenna, and figure out where the static is coming from. It's time to do the same for your vibration. Here is my practical 3-step guide for what to do when it feels like nothing is working. 1. The strategic pause. Are you tuning or forcing? When you feel stuck, the hustle culture instinct is to double down, work harder, push through it. But often, this is like trying to tune a guitar while angrily smashing the strings. You're just creating more noise and frustration. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is to stop completely. This isn't quitting, it's a strategic pause. It's a deliberate act of recalibration. What it looks like. It might be taking a full day off from your project with no guilt. Go for a long walk in nature without your phone, read a novel, play a video game, do something completely unrelated that brings you genuine, uncomplicated joy. It could be as simple as stepping away from your desk for an hour. Why it works. This pause creates space. It allows the stress hormones to dissipate and your frantic, low-vibration energy to settle. It lets your subconscious mind work on the problem in the background. Often, the breakthrough you've been desperately chasing will pop into your head when you're in the shower or doing the washing up, precisely because you stopped forcing it. It's a reset for your personal frequency, allowing you to come back to the problem with fresh eyes and a calmer internal state. Number 2, the sideways step. Are you broadcasting on the right channel? Albert Einstein famously and probably apocryphally defined insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you've been broadcasting your signal on one channel with all your might and getting no reception, it might not be a problem with your signal strength. You might just be on the wrong channel. When you're stuck, instead of pushing harder in the same direction, take a sideways step. Try a completely different approach. What it looks like. Are you trying to grow your business with Instagram posts and getting no traction? Take a sideways step and try writing a long-form article on LinkedIn.
Is your current fitness plan boring you to tears? Take a sideways step and try a completely different sport for a few weeks. Have you been trying to solve a problem by thinking about it for hours? Take a sideways step and try talking about it with a friend who knows nothing about the topic. Why it works. A sideways step shakes up your patterns and forces your brain to create new neural pathways. It introduces new variables and new feedback into your system. This isn't about abandoning your goal. It's about being flexible in your method. It sends out a different kind of signal, which can attract a different kind of opportunity or reveal a solution that was invisible from your previous vantage point. Number 3, the tiny domino. Can you make it ridiculously easy? When we're stuck, the goal can feel impossibly large and distant. The gap between where we are and where we want to be seems like a vast canyon. Looking at the canyon is demotivating and creates a low vibration state of overwhelm. The solution is to stop looking at the canyon and find the smallest possible pebble at your feet. This is the tiny domino principle. The goal is to forget the monumental task ahead and focus on only the smallest possible action that gets you moving again. The bar for success should be so low it's almost laughable. What it looks like. Can't face writing that chapter? Your goal is to write 1 sentence. Dreading going to the gym? Your goal is to put on your workout clothes. That's it. You can take them off again if you want. Overwhelmed by your messy office? Your goal is to throw 1 piece of rubbish in the bin. Why it works. This isn't about the task itself. It's about breaking the state of inertia. A body at rest stays at rest, and a mind stuck in stuck stays stuck. The tiny domino is a psychological hack to create a small win. That tiny jolt of accomplishment, that feeling of, I did something, is often all it takes to shift your vibration from stuck to moving. And once you're moving, even at a snail's pace, momentum begins to build on itself. Getting stuck is not a failure of the principle. It's part of the process. It's your internal guidance system telling you that it's time to pause, reassess, and realign. By using these tools, you can learn to see these moments not as roadblocks, but as helpful detours that ultimately lead you to an even clearer, more powerful path forward.
Chapter 12. The Comparison Hangover, Protecting Your Vibe in a World of Highlights. It was a Thursday afternoon, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. I had just published a YouTube video that I was genuinely proud of. The script was tight, the editing was crisp, and I'd managed to explain a complex topic in what I felt was a simple, elegant way. I was, in short, feeling very much in alignment. My vibe was high. Then I made a mistake, a rookie error. I opened Instagram, and there it was. A fellow creator in my niche had just posted about his latest video. It had a slicker thumbnail, a catchier title, and as I clicked through, I saw with a sinking heart that it had already amassed 10 times the views my video had in just a few hours. The good feeling I'd been enjoying evaporated instantly. It was replaced by a familiar, sickly cocktail of feelings of envy, inadequacy, and a dash of self-pity. My internal monologue went from, I'm doing great, to, why am I even bothering? I'm so far behind. His camera quality is better, his jokes are funnier, he's probably taller too. I had woken up with a high vibration buzz and was now nursing a full-blown comparison hangover. This is, without a doubt, one of the biggest sources of static we face in the modern world. We are living in an era where we carry a device in our pockets that allows us to witness the curated, filtered, and photoshopped highlight reels of thousands of other people 24 hours a day. We know, logically, that we are comparing our messy, chaotic, and beautifully imperfect behind the scenes, our doubts, our struggles, our pajama-clad work-from-home days, with everyone else's perfectly lit and masterfully edited highlight reel. But knowing this doesn't stop it from hurting. Your brain on comparison. This isn't a personal failing. It's a biological setup.
Our brains are hardwired for social comparison. It's how our ancestors figured out their place in the tribe. But their tribe was maybe 150 people. Our tribe is the entire internet. Our brains haven't evolved to handle this fire hose of curated perfection. When you endlessly scroll, you are giving your reticular activating system a very dangerous instruction. Show me all the ways I'm not good enough. Your RAS dutifully gets to work highlighting every person who seems richer, fitter, happier, or more successful than you are, reinforcing a low vibration state of scarcity and lack. Protecting your vibe in this environment requires a conscious, deliberate strategy. You can't just hope you'll be immune to it. You have to actively manage your inputs and reframe your thinking. Here's how. 1. Go on a low-information diet. Tim Ferriss popularized this idea, and it's brilliant. It's not about becoming an ignorant hermit. It's about being a ruthless curator of the information you consume. This is the next level of the digital declutter we did earlier. Audit for feeling. Once a week, scroll through your social media feed and treat it like a Marie Kondo exercise. For every account you see, ask, does this spark joy or does it spark anxiety and comparison? Be brutally honest. That fitness model with the impossible abs, if they inspire you to go to the gym, great. If they make you feel guilty about the croissant you had for breakfast, it's time to mute or unfollow. Follow the behind the scenes. Actively seek and follow people who show their work. Follow creators who talk about their failures, entrepreneurs who share their revenue struggles, and artists who post their messy sketches, not just the final masterpiece. This recalibrates your brain to understand that the struggle is part of everyone's process, not a unique flaw in yours. 2. Create a me versus me scoreboard. The single most powerful antidote to comparing yourself to others is to get addicted to comparing yourself to your past self. The only competition that matters in the game of alignment is becoming a slightly better version of yourself than you were yesterday. Start a weekly wins journal. This is so simple it feels silly, but it works. At the end of every week, open a notebook or a Notion doc and write down 3 to 5 things you accomplished. They don't have to be monumental. Finally replied to that difficult email, or went for 2 runs, or wrote 1 paragraph of my book are all fantastic wins. Track your trajectory. When you track your own progress, your workouts, your savings rate, the number of words you've written, you create a compelling data story of your own growth. When you can see the tangible evidence that you are moving forward, the achievements of others become less threatening and more irrelevant to your own journey. Your focus shifts from their highlight reel to your own game tape. 3. Turn envy into a compass. Despite your best efforts, you will still feel that pang of envy. It's inevitable, but instead of letting it curdle into a low vibration state of self-pity, you can learn to use it as a tool. Envy is just data. It's a compass needle pointing directly at something you desire. The next time you feel it, don't suppress it. Interrogate it. Ask why. You feel envious of a friend who just launched a successful podcast. Why? Is it the money, the fame, or is it the feeling of creative expression, of having a voice, of building a community around a topic you love? Get specific. Convert it to action. Once you identify the root desire, reframe it as an aligned goal. I'm envious of her podcast becomes, I am inspired to find a way to share my own voice. Then, use the tiny domino principle from the last chapter. What's the smallest possible step? It might be brainstorming 5 potential topics for a show of your own. It might be listening to a podcast about how to start a podcast. By using this reframe, you take the toxic, passive energy of envy and transform it into focused, high-vibration, creative action. You're no longer a spectator in someone else's success story. You're the writer of your own. Protecting your frequency is an active, ongoing practice.
Your journey has its own timeline, its own challenges, and its own unique rhythm. The goal isn't to have the best highlight reel. The goal is to love your behind the scenes, because that's where you actually live.
Conclusion: living in alignment. It feels like a lifetime ago that I was a burnt-out junior doctor, bleary-eyed at 2 a.m., stumbling upon a weird corner of the internet talking about vibrations. My inner skeptic was on high alert, convinced it was all a load of nonsense. But a deeper part of me, the part that was exhausted by the endless hustle and the feeling of pushing a boulder uphill, was intrigued. That late-night rabbit hole kickstarted a journey that has fundamentally reshaped my entire approach to productivity, success, and happiness. It led me to dismantle the hustle harder mantra that had been my religion and replace it with the question that has become the foundation of this book: how can I make this feel good? The path from that skeptical doctor to the person writing this book has been one of discovery, experimentation, and a few embarrassing missteps. But it has led me to a place of feel-good productivity I never thought possible, and my greatest hope is that the principles we've explored will do the same for you. As we close this journey together, let's zoom out and recap the core ideas, the fundamental tenets of the alignment principle. The alignment principle in a nutshell: you are a human tuning fork. The core idea is that everything, including you, is in a state of vibration. Your thoughts and feelings create your personal frequency. A state of joy, gratitude, and excitement is a high frequency. A state of stress, fear, and frustration is a low frequency. You are constantly broadcasting this signal and resonating with people and circumstances that match it. Your brain's bouncer obeys your vibe. Your Reticular Activating System, RAS, is the neurological basis for this phenomenon. It's a filter that shows you what you focus on. When you marinate in a low vibration state, you're telling your brain to scan for evidence that life is hard and frustrating. When you consciously tune to a higher frequency, you prime your brain to spot opportunities, solutions, and reasons to be optimistic. You can engineer your state. You are not a victim of your feelings. You are the architect of your environment. Through vibrational hygiene, cognitive reframing, and injecting the fun factor, play, power, and people into your goals, you can stop relying on willpower and instead create an upward spiral where feeling good is the path of least resistance. Aligned action creates its own luck. Alignment isn't passive. It's about taking that high-frequency internal state and translating it into external action. By broadcasting your signal, sharing what you learn and what excites you, you dramatically increase your luck surface area, engineering serendipity. By using the one-thing rule, you focus that energy for maximum impact, creating momentum and relief. Protect your signal. This state isn't static. It requires maintenance. You must learn to troubleshoot when you're stuck and actively protect your vibe from the comparison hangover by focusing on your own journey. You are the scientist. Now for the most important part. This book is not a rigid dogma. It is not a prescription you must follow to the letter. Please do not treat it as such. Think of this book as a lab manual. It is a toolkit, a collection of models and experiments. And you're the lead scientist. Your life, your career, your well-being, that is the laboratory. Your job now is not to blindly follow my advice, but to become a productivity scientist in your own life. Take these ideas and test them. Keep what works for you and ruthlessly discard what doesn't. Collect data, but not just on how many tasks you complete or how much money you make. Collect data on how you feel. Does scheduling your priorities first actually reduce your anxiety? Does the gratitude voice note give you a bigger buzz than writing in a journal? Does working in a coffee shop for a few hours raise your energy more than working from home? Be curious, be playful, be an empiricist of your own joy. The goal is to build your own personalized operating system for a life that is not just successful on the outside, but feels amazing on the inside. So stop trying so hard to force the outcome. Instead, turn your focus inward.
tune your frequency. Do the things that light you up. Share your excitement with the world. Create a life that feels good on the inside, and you will be astounded by what you create on the outside.